Day, everyone across the world. We are so blessed to have with us here a very special lady. She is Mohana Gill. She's an award-winning author in recipe books, and her focus at the moment is on Moringa. And the reason with Moringa is because she grew up, but she will tell us more about it. Now, about myself, I'm Mariana Price from South Africa. I run a campaign, Shine Africa campaign, and we are planting moringa trees for the awareness of peace education. And that's global campaign. It started off with planting a few. First of all, I started bumping into moringa by accident, I can almost say, because I live in an area where moringa does not grow. We're in a maize, sunflower, a cattle area with we have game. So moringa is not known here, but I managed to grow moringa here. And moringa is such a healthy plant. We will go into depth in our episodes about the health and wealth about moringa. And we will also, bring for you everything that is important of how to bring it into our meals. And I'm also got a Facebook group page that's called Growing Moringa Trees. We're very involved with Africa Moringa Hub. Jeanette from Africa Moringa Hub is doing all our recordings, and we say thank you to Jeanette. And so we are global tree planters, global influencers, and global information baskets and knowledge that we have, we bring to the world. But now I want to introduce to you this awesome, amazing, energetic 89-year-old Mohana Gill. And let's hear from Mohana Gill. She's going to introduce herself and give us a fruitful, energetic reason why she is following the next few years with Moringa. Off to you, Mohana.
Thank you. Hi, hi everybody. I'm Mohana Gill. I'm actually originally from Myanmar, but I now live in Malaysia, and have been living in Malaysia for the last 57 years. And it is my passion. I've always loved cooking, and I started on my career at the age of 70. Writing books about healthy living, wellness, and so on and so forth. And I was fortunate enough that most of my books have won Gourmand World Cookbook Awards, Best in the World, etc. But now my concentration is on moringa. I grew up with moringa, and as a child, even I knew that it was good for me. But it was during the time of the pandemic, when we had a lot of time on our hands, and I was trying to think what else can I do, what can I contribute it, and then I thought, why not moringa? And when I looked around the world, I found it was in the last about 10 or 15 years, Mariana, maybe.
Yes.
But suddenly the Western world has woken up to the fact that this is a miracle tree, that it is a tree of life, it is a tree that cures 300 diseases, etc., etc. So wherever I looked at, there are thousands of scientific studies done on moringa. But basically, people are looking at moringa in the form of a nutrient or as a supplement. So they do the moringa leaves and put them in capsules, or we've got moringa powder. And there are people who are using a moringa powder as food, to put into their food. So I thought, Mariana, why don't I look at moringa from a different point of view? Look at it as food. Grow moringa, eat moringa. And as you know, moringa is one of those very easy trees to grow. It doesn't take any looking after. You just put it there, and by God's grace, it just keeps on giving you and giving you. And the more you take, the more she gives you. So what I want for the world to know is that we have this tree growing in our garden. It is almost like a pharmacy growing in our garden. We need to use it in our meals. So from garden to table. So that is one of the reasons I wrote this book, where we have about 60 recipes and try to incorporate moringa into different kinds of cuisine. And I also found, to my delight, that moringa is one of those plants that you can incorporate it into any cuisine in the world, Italian, Chinese, Japanese, so that everybody worldwide will be able to use moringa. Yes.
Thank you, Moana. Yes, it is so important that we know exactly why it is important, because moringa is filled with all the healthy nutrients. It is a superfood. It
Yeah.
is an easy way to bring all the goodness in like one meal. You already have a lot of goodness. But now people are making mistakes. They don't understand how to bring it into a meal. Well, you don't have to think far, because you can basically use your own knowledge. If
Yeah.
you are cooking and you put spices and herbs in, well, just replace the herbs with moringa herbs. You know, moringa is a herb. And if you use a powder, or you use a crushed moringa or fresh moringa, or the moringa oil, all those ways you can bring, moringa into the meal.
Yeah.
And we are making major issues about how we cook. We cook our food dead, we cook it too long, and we
Yeah.
must stop doing that. That is one of the messages I want to bring along, is we need steamed food, fast food, not fast foods from a takeaway. We
Yeah.
need to bring it in a faster, quicker way to the table.
So that
And
we retain the nutrients.
absolutely. And your book and is absolutely amazing. It's called Moringa-licious. And I mean, what better word you could have chosen? Moringa-licious sounds so delicious. It's rhyming. And I just love it. We are promoting it across the globe through our platforms, our different platforms. While we're planting our moringa trees, we have Moana, myself, are in a group from Asia with Dr. Leban Serto and Ayen. And soon we're going to speak to Ayen as well in our talk show. And it's very exciting, because we can learn so much from you, Moana, because you grew up with moringa. And it is not all of us that had the privilege of growing up with moringa. However, we are planting it. I'm also planting moringa. I'm sitting here with my moringa trees behind me. And what we do is we make sure that we actually, you can see here's my moringa trees right behind me. So it is lovely, it's lush, it is exciting, fresh. The taste might be strong for certain people, but I found that if you use the crushed leaves as well, that and fresh, that is not so potent as the powder in our foods. And maybe you can talk a little bit more about that, Moana, how you use it into your recipes.
Well, Mariana, that every part of the moringa tree can be eaten. The leaves are the ones that have are most nutrient dense. They have all the more nutrients. Then we have the flowers, the moringa flowers as well, which we also use in our cooking. Then we have the moringa drumstick, from where the pods come out. So for centuries, I think the Indians were the first one, 4,000 years ago, when they started to use moringa partly for medicinal, for the Ayurvedic medicines, plus as well as food. So I think the easiest thing that we can do with the moringa is start off with the leaves. And they're the easiest to grow. It is so easy to get them. The flowers are a little bit difficult because they're seasonal, and the drumsticks sometimes are available or not available. Nevertheless, the book has got recipes from different parts of moringa. So the way I look at it is that, say, for example, if I want to make a pizza, then I just make a pizza the normal way. And just about 10 minutes, maybe, or 5 minutes before your pizza is ready, you pluck your moringa leaves from your garden, wash them nicely, dry them, pat them dry, and just put it on the top of your pizza. So it takes maybe about 5 minutes or 3 or 4 minutes, and the leaves just wilt. and you can eat it. And that is where you get the most nutrients because you're not overcooking your moringa leaves. Yes.
Yes, and you see, if you do not have access to the fresh leaves,
You
you
can
could
put the powder.
actually
Yeah.
you can, or you can crush, you can buy crushed leaves like I've got
Yeah.
here in my hand.
Yeah.
And what you do is you can buy it, you keep it, on the shelf, you keep it in your kitchen. And whenever you cook, you can just use the crushed leaves,
Yes.
and it can be dried. And that is what we're encouraging the farmers, the growers, that they
Yeah.
not just start making powders and capsules. And we need to also introduce, because you can see, yeah, also keep your
Yes.
capsules, right on hand. So, and it doesn't matter. Remember, it's food. So you can consume quite, enough every day. Like, for instance, I use 8 capsules because I don't always harvest a lot of my moringas because they're growing slower here. It's a non-moringa area. However, I manage to grow them, well here. And I have a fresh, but not right through the year. And then we also have these beautiful oils, the moringa
Yes.
oil. You
Yeah.
can, let's just get there, the
Yeah.
moringa oil. It is beautiful oil that you can use not just in food, but on your body.
Yes.
And
Yes. Correct.
you can cook with it. And the more we're going to use it, the prices will decrease in the shops for availability. And there will be more and more available. And the oils we get from the seed pods, those long seed pods, when we dry it on the tree, it dries on the tree. Then we take it off, and then we um, crush it so that we can get the oil out of it. And those oils are very, very healthy to cook with as
Yes.
well. And like Moana said, she puts it on a pizza. Moana, tell us more. You've got so many recipes there and such interesting, ways of using moringa.
And then, like, for example, if you want to do Chinese cooking, then when you're doing a stir frying any kind of a vegetable that you want to do, cabbage or cauliflower, carrots, etc. The last minute, the last 2-3 minutes of your stir fry, just pluck your moringa leaves and add it to it. And there you've got a healthy nutrition meal. And we also do, I'm sure you do also, many people, we do make smoothies out of with moringa. We put it in our soups. So, I mean, it is almost any food that you're eating, you can add
And
your
we're
moringa.
using our powder. Yes, we
Yes,
use the moringa powder and we put it into our smoothies. Very,
yes,
very, very good. Very,
yeah,
very good to consume greens. Greens
yeah,
are very important, just as important as the reds and the yellows into your diet.
of course. So, but for me, because we have in my house, I've got about 10 or 12 moringa trees. So we've got lots and lots of moringa. So whenever we are cooking, we tend to use our fresh leaves because they are so much easier. Somebody just goes to the garden and just plucks it, washes it, and then we use it. Then, of course, you can make your moringa tea, right? And then moringa also is, we also make a very nice moringa ice cream, Mariana. A
Yes,
very simple recipe, and
yes,
we make everything at home. So it
yes,
is,
yes, yes.
that is all organic and, there's no additives and, whatever.
Absolutely. But I mean, your ice cream recipe is in your book as well.
Yes,
And that is something that we know that children, older
yes,
people are consuming. And our aim is also to make sure that we bring it into the elderly and the
yes,
young people's diet,
yeah,
because they normally lack the nutrients. They lack because they grow fast, or when you get older your body does not take in the nutrients as easy as what you were during your lifetime. And it is important to add it into, like you say, the smoothies, the ice creams, because what do we eat? We can even, with like your gummies and all that, it's very important to bring these nutrients in your recipes. And that's why you decided to spend your time, write a recipe so it can bring it easier to the table, because not many people are confident enough to just add and take away and add in quantities, because they're too scared to experiment. we are, for us, it's easy because we just do it because we're so natural at writing recipes and designing, new meals and all that with Moringa and with all the other healthy herbs and spices we have available. Now, your book, tell us a little bit more about your award winning, about your Moringalicious and your other books, please, Moana, because that is very important because you
Well,
play a very, very important role in the world.
when I started to write, Mariana, I just wrote because I was at the age of 70 and all my children had all are educated. One of my sons was married, and I had a lot of time on my hands, and I was thinking what I should do. I mean, I never ever thought that I would write. But then thinking what to do, everybody said, why don't you write? And of course, like you and me, we all love to cook, right? So everybody says, why don't you write a cookbook or why don't you write a cookbook? And I toyed with the idea of writing a cookbook. But when I looked around, I found that there were 10,000, 100,000 cookbooks all over the world, every genre, every cuisine, whatever you want. And I thought, do I really want to write another uh, cookbook, with this kind of thing? So then I began to think, and in our house, my husband's a doctor, and we eat a lot of fruits. We eat lots and lots of fruits. Then I began to think, Marian, and I thought, maybe I might want to write something about fruits, which is a little bit more different from the normal, like a recipe kind of thing. So I researched and I wrote this book, and I wrote it just for writing a book. And I've got 3 sons, and you know what children are? They said, Mom, who's going to buy your books? Who's going to read your books? But my husband is very supportive. So he said to them, don't worry about it. Just let her write it. If nobody buys the books, just let her give them away to her friends and to her relatives and just let her be happy. So that's how I started to write. And then the book was the publisher sent the book to the Gourmand World Cookbook Awards. As you know, Mariana, the Gourmand World Cookbooks Award are the Oscars of the book. Like how they have
Absolutely.
Oscars. They are the authority. So when we sent the book, and then I went there, and when I was awarded a special award of the jury, which is a very specialized award, I was really, really happy. And at that time, I began to think that maybe I am doing something right. I'm doing something right. And so that's how it started with one. And then I carried on with the others. And I was just lucky that every book that I wrote, Fantastic, Vegemania, Happylicious, Flowerlicious, all my books have got awards and won as best in the world. In fact, I think my Frutastic book is, even after 30 years, in the Gourmand, what they do is that all the books that have got best in the world over 20 years or 25 years, they review all that again and then give best of the best. So actually my Fantastic book over 25 years has got an award for best of the best. So I feel in my mind that I really am doing something that is meaningful and something that people would like to read about. But I want to tell you a little bit about the children. When I started to write these books and I got these awards, the parents came to me and said, what do we do, Mohana? Our children don't eat fruit and vegetables. What can we do to encourage them? At that time, my first grandchild was born. And then so I decided to write books for children. So I have about 20 books for children under the banner of Haley. Haley is the name of my granddaughter. So we call it the Haley's Happylicious series. So we teach children, tell them because normally you ask a child, where does your pineapple come from? What is he going to say? Supermarket. Because he doesn't know.
Yes.
He does not know that there is a
Yeah.
pineapple tree. He doesn't know how the pineapple looks like. So in this book, the children go to these fruit gardens and they learn about the different kinds of fruits. And then every book has got about 15 to 20 recipes, very simple recipes, which the children can do by themselves or with the help of the parent. Because I want food to become a very happy part of their life, where they cook together, they eat together. When my grandson was small, I used to take him into the supermarket and let him decide, I want this green and I want this one is red and this one is purple. Then come home and children will always eat what they have helped to cook. Whether it is even if you peel the cucumber or cut an onion, they will say, well, I did this, so I will eat. So I thought that this was a nice way to encourage children to become part of the whole food. Normally we put the food on the table and put it in front of them and say, eat. But I want
Yes.
children to understand, what are we eating? How does it grow? Where does it grow? And how is it good for us? So that's how I started on my children's book. And I must tell you, one of the things I believe in very strongly, Mariana, is it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men.
Wonderful. Yes, 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 yes. I agree.
That's why I feel very strongly we have got to start our children from very, very young to make them part of the whole food thing,
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I agree fully, Moana. It is so important. That's why I also run my Moringa Ninja program, where
Yeah.
we involve adults, children, and teach them the little seeds, how you plant a little seed, what happens to that, even to harvest the
Yeah.
seeds, plant the seeds, what becomes from that little seed. That tiny little seed, where does it go? How does it develop? And in the end, what goodness does it bring? We teach them all about healthy environments. Like I'm sitting here, the birds, it's an actual haven here because I've got bird life here. We've got healthy plants. It is just so fantastic, and we need to bring children to a space. But if they are not near like a space that I have here where people can come and look at and explore and enjoy and learn on this teaching farm, we need to bring it in books, in a form of books. And that is what you've done. You're doing it in a right way to bring it into books, because we know, as I myself, I'm a grandparent, it's nice to buy a book for your grandchild.
Yes.
If a birthday present is a book, because
Yes.
we teach our children from a very young age to read. And it's not just about reading on your phone or reading on a laptop. You must have a physical book with you in your hands. You can treasure it, page back and forth in that book. It is calming. I look at my granddaughters. They are small. They 2 and 4 years old, and these are the ones in South Africa, and they adore their books because their parents, my children, has teaching them, from a young age to look at the things. My little granddaughter, that's 2 years old, she knows all the different types of bugs. She knows all the different types of birds, and she names them by name, the names that I don't even know. And I think with you, with bringing the knowledge, of the plants, the nutrients, the health, and how it looks like, and what does it do for you, so that they can appreciate their meals and the intake will be better. Because so often I see parents just give their child just plain yogurt, and that is not good enough. You need to bring variety into that yogurt, not the artificial ways, like with the artificial sugars that they put in the ready-made ones, but we need to bring it in the shakes. We need to bring it in the Nutri bars, healthy gummy rolls and things like that. The ice cream, where you bring, moringa into the ice cream. All those little bits help so much. And we don't realize what we actually put wrong in our bodies by go and buy all these ready-made things. We need to spend a little bit more time thinking about how we're cooking instead of just stopping by a drive-through takeaway. Because my point this year is, through our chat show that we can have now during 2025, we're going to have it every week or 10 days, as long as we can keep going. And it is important because we want to also bring to all it's Moana, myself, mission to make sure that all the takeaways are starting to include it in their sauces and relishes, because it might be difficult to bring moringa into their foods, but maybe the patties can have moringa in it, the
Yeah, or
sauces,
we
the
can have some
relishes.
sauces, some moringa sauces maybe, which
Yes,
you might be able to
beautiful.
include. Yeah.
Beautiful. And the relishes, it is nice. I so often see these advertisements of the consumers for the takeaways, where they will advertise and say, I want the fries, I don't want the relish, I don't want this, and I don't want that. And that is scary, because if a child will tell you, I don't eat my greens, I don't eat my reds, no vegetables, no, how are they going to get in the good nutrients? Now you have to force down a capsule to that child.
Yeah.
And, or they get sick and they get ill. They have allergies. They don't heal easy. Um, we need to make sure that we teach our children from a very young age. And like I say, these books, recipe books, are so important. Information books, it's not going to be just always about recipe books, but information books, but we include the recipes so that the mothers can also, and the fathers that are cooking, they can bring that, to the table. And that's why I also, with these, with the dried leaves and the dried powder, the oils, is to make sure that the grocery stores start stocking up. They must start asking for it from the farmers, the suppliers, the people that are the traders. They should create a demand for all of this. And how do we create a demand? We only create a demand like what we are doing. We are influencers out there in the world. We talk about something. The moment you start talking about something, then the consumers watch and listen to us, and they go out to the stores, they ask for it. And the more people start asking for it, even on the media and online, we create a demand. And that demand, in the end, will come into the shops and easily available. Like you were saying, it's only the past 8 to 15 years that we have Moringa, really out there, where consumers are aware of nutrients. And when we had the pandemic, that's when we really all say, enough is enough. Now we need to start changing. By those years, we were already busy doing our thing, but people didn't always take us serious. Now, I remember that when I started selling moringa and talk about moringa, people were saying to me, "Oh, it's just another gimmick. It's just another, phase."
Another fad.
And and then the pandemic came, and they all wanted moringa, and that was like an eye opener for the world. But yet, now all the shops are selling, but we have to make sure that we have the healthy, the good soil moringa out there. We have to teach the people also about, the little worms in the soil, the mushrooms, everything that we put by the roots, so that we bring back the nutrients in the root system, so it can be taken up by the leaves in order, to give us the best that we deserve. And the moringa tree, the miracle tree, a tree of life, has been put on earth by our creator. And if we do not take it serious, and we have the knowledge, we have to make sure that we bring the knowledge across. Because I always say, we all have a life mission. And you have your life mission with your recipe books. And your husband did a beautiful thing to say, Moana, children, let her write the books. It will have its place and space in lifetime. And look there, you won awards, the most amazing, awards you've won through your writing. And well done to your husband that, saw, what was coming. And in his heart, he knew that your passion and your creation in your books is going to definitely bring a change. And I'm so excited that we're going to do this series. And I want people to start joining in. Our first recording is today, and it's exciting. And I would love to see where we are at the end of the year, because this is it's going to be amazing. to see what we can bring to the Moringa table, or a consumption table. And I think our videos will definitely go viral. It will go everywhere, and people will start following on what we've got to offer, in the meals, the relishes, the sauces, and that all these takeaways, fast food
Yeah.
entities, that they actually will take us serious and say, you know what, there are some beautiful relishes and sauces. I did a whole thing on our African Moringa Hub sauce, a recipe competition. I did a whole thing that we will release soon on sauces. It is amazing. Amazing. It's a multi-billion-dollar
Yeah.
business out there. And I mean, your recipe books will be fantastic. And I'm sure you're going to turn out more amazing recipes, that we can offer to the world.
Yeah, but I've got to say something on this video, which I also said earlier when I was talking to Mariko. For me, personally, I now feel that my time is limited. I may have a year, I may have 2 years, I may not have that time. I don't know when something might happen to me and my faculties don't work. Maybe I cannot do the things that I want to do. So, looking at it in many ways, Mariana, I am in a little bit of a hurry because with the limited time that I have, and I have so much that I want to share, there's so much that I want to give to the world. So sometimes if you think, Mona, why are you in such a hurry? I am because I don't have 10 years. I don't have 5 years. So whatever limited time the creator is going to give me, I want to make use of that time fully and impart the little knowledge that I have and write the little books. Can you see my children's book?
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Wonderful.
And I think that if we start concentrating on our children and we can teach them something, then we are building up another new generation because these children will then automatically teach their own children. They don't know because we didn't teach them. So now we need to teach our children, and they are our future. They're the most important people in this world. And I feel that I
Absolutely.
really want to do something for our children. And my vision is, Mariana, whether it is in your place or my place, that there should be so many Moringa trees planted. And